Here's a good example. They're closing this road here, even though the fire's been out for 3 months. And just, you can't go in there, you can't mine, you can't do anything like that. It's getting old. Howdy everybody, I'm Shannon with American Mining Rights Association, AMRA. And we wanted to shoot a new video for you today. We're back at one of our favorite claims here, Lode. You can see it behind me here. We're in the South Mother Lode of California, and anyway, we're going to go down and run a high banker today and show you why we're going to dig in a little bit different spot than the bedrock trenches video that we did. But anyway, just a little bit about AMRA. You know, guys, we're just miners that are concerned with the direction of our country, and with the all-powerful EPA and water boards and all these regulatory agencies and stuff just doing an endless attack on our rights and trying to keep us basically off of our own public land. So that's why we formed AMRA, is to fight for your rights. And we're a little bit different than most companies, and we're not a gold club, but basically we're partnered with PLP, Public Lands for the People, and we provide them income basically to pay for the attorneys and things like that. But we're a little bit different. We've got a couple of thousand gold claims in California here. We're expanding to other states, and you know, basically for a small donation we grant you access to all the gold claims, so you have a place to go. And you'll see from the videos that we shoot, we get real good gold. Guys, these are the claims that we never intended letting anybody on, but because we are professional miners and that's all we do, is this is how we make our living, is mining. So we open those up to you guys, and we hope you find more gold in a weekend than you have in years. So anyway, check us out on AmericanMiningRights.com, and check us out on Facebook. We post a lot of videos and we update it daily, all the things we're doing out here. So anyway, check us out, AmericanMiningRights.com. Anyway, we got to hike down to the bottom of the canyon here. We got a little bit of snow down there. It's a little bit cold, and we're going to dig out a new spot as opposed to these bedrock trenches like I mentioned. So this should be pretty good. This gets an awful lot of flood gold. This creek is dry about 95% of the year, but when it really gets gushing, when we have heavy rains up here, it moves a lot of gold, and it deposits it every single year. So you can go down here and dig and clean out an area right on top of the clay, and then come back the next year, dig the same spot, and find a bunch of gold. So I love this claim. But anyway, let's head down there and let's see if we can't show you what we're doing. So I want to explain to you guys where we're going to dig and why we're going to dig there today, because we want you to understand what our thought processes are, because we're just like you. We want to come in here and we want to dig the least amount of dirt and get the most amount of gold. So right behind me here, you can see Charlie in the distance, as you can see some exposed bedrock. Right there's where we shot that bedrock trench video we pulled a 1/4 ounce out of, and it was all in the surface dirt, about that deep, and it was loaded full of pickers and all kinds of fine gold and really good stuff. Those trenches up behind me here, some of those things go down 8, 9, 10 feet. We haven't even hit the bottom of them, but it's all a clay layer. Once you get down through the surface dirt about that far, you hit a clay layer, and that's indicative of the fires that they've had up here for the last 100 years, really. And so that clay doesn't really hold a lot of gold. It does hold some, but it's on the surface. The contact areas where the dirt hits the clay itself, the gold can't penetrate through that clay, so it has a tendency to sit on top of it, or it sits trapped below it. We're taking the stuff off the top right now. That's what we're focusing on, and you'll be able to see that as we shoot. You'll see that the color of the soil will change color, and it really goes into clay, and we can show you how, heck, you could make ceramic pots out of the stuff. It's so thick. So anyway, the reason why we're going to dig, and we're going to dig really where the camera is right now, is the creek comes down through here, and this is a low area that I'm standing in, and then it starts to come back up. And you have to picture this, guys, as when this is flood stage, okay? Let's say that water is going over the top of my head and this whole canyon is full of water rushing down here, is you look for the areas that the gold slows down. It's 16 times heavier than water, so where the water slows down is where the gold's going to drop and deposit. And so as it comes through this wash, we don't have any waterfalls or drop-offs or anything like that. It'll start to slow down in this long, flat area that's actually a little bit of a depression. And where it rises back up is where the water is the slowest as it's coming down the creek. And it should deposit the gold right where the cameraman's standing. So we're going to recirculate our high banker, hook it up right behind there, and then we should be able to just shovel that. But what we want to do is, this is the widest part of the canyon as well, so it should give us, you know, the most amount of gold deposit. And again, guys, all we're really trying to do is just to take off probably the first 2 or 3 feet of soil until we hit the clay, and that's what we're going to focus on running today. So we'll kind of switch the positions here, and we'll give you an idea of what this looks like before we start digging it, and then you'll see that progression as we go on. So anyway, I'm excited about this. Should be fun. We should get some good gold. One other thing I want to mention to you guys, and this is something to look for, is something to think about, is you can see in the distance there where I was just digging, we're throwing a tailing pile that we ran from our last high banking trip. But this mound on either side of me that tapers off and stops right here by this log, this is what we call thrown rock. And it's actually representative of when the miners were in here in 1850 to about 1865. And they dug all the good stuff out of the creek and they threw it out of here. But what you got to think about is, if you were a miner coming here in 1850 and this was virgin ground and you were finding 3 ounces a day with a shovel and a pan, what are you going to do? You're going to go right to the heart of the creek and you're going to throw the rocks out of the creek. The creek bed actually extends over about another 60 feet here. So did they take this rock and just throw it out of here, get the good stuff, and bury virgin ground here? That's a good question. That's why we dug that hole up above here looking for that, and it didn't turn out to be old ground. But someday we're going to come in here and we'll remove this rock wall here and find out what's below that and punch it all the way to bedrock. And if that's virgin ground, guys, they average between 1 and 3 ounces with a shovel and a pan. Imagine how much gold you would get if you ran this soil that was virgin through a high banker. I think you'd probably average a pound a day. So someday we'll do that. Not today, but we'll do it another day. Let's give you guys a quick update here. We rolled out this big boulder. It's about that big right here at the top of where we want to dig. We're going to end up digging out this area probably about 12 feet. 5 feet that way, maybe 5 feet that way. And we'll strip this down. But I wanted to show you the difference in the soil and what we're after. The very, very top surface is only about 8 inches deep, and it's not really good stuff that we like, so because it just doesn't hold much gold. So we're kind of throwing that off like we did with all these rocks. But as soon as you get down to that, the soil color changes, and it changes to this brown color, and you can see it's got real nice rounded little gravels and stuff in here. This is exactly what we're looking for, and this stuff we already know from mining in here for several weeks that it holds really good gold. So this is what you're looking for. Now once we go through that brown layer, we'll probably go down another 2, maybe 2.5, 3 feet, and we're going to hit that clay layer. It's that brown gravel layer that we're after. As soon as you hit that clay layer, you only want to take off a couple of inches of that stuff and run it. Clay, running it through a high banker or a sluice box just doesn't work, guys. It'll blow your gold out, and like I say, it just doesn't hold a lot of gold. So we're in the good stuff. We just got started. We're pretty excited about that, so we'll keep going. Let's give you an update on what we're doing here. You can see we've dug down probably a good 30 inches, and we just hit the clay layer. Back in 1987, there was a humongous fire in here, and that clay layer is indicative of that because the ash is so fine, the particles are so fine, and it was such an enormous fire, it deposited that in here, and that's actually turned into clay. So let's give you an example of what that clay layer looks like, and what we're trying to do is take the material up above it. So you can see right here, you can actually see the charcoal in that, and this right here on the bottom is the actual clay. So this layer from here up is what we're after. Well, I wanted to give you guys an update. We dug this hole out, and we only dug down about maybe 30 inches, and we hit that clay layer and we sampled it. We actually cleaned out the high banker, and hopefully you guys can see here, this isn't very much gold, and for 25 buckets of unclassified, it's just not worth it. So we're gonna head back upstream, and there's only one picker in here, but we're gonna head back upstream to that trench that we dug out before, just because we don't want to waste our time here today, and we want to make sure that we, you know, at least pay for our gas today. So we know there's good gold in that trench. We kind of thought that this place would be really good, but you know, I don't know, sometimes it's like that. And like in all of our videos, we'll show you good, bad, or indifferent. We'll show you what we get. So let's go dig up there and let's find some real gold. Done running, I don't know, maybe a dozen buckets from that trench that we were at before, and it wouldn't be that easy, but we did right off the bat when we opened it up, we started seeing pickers, so that's a lot better sign. But anyway, and then we can see more gold in here, so obviously that spot we were digging wasn't very good, but like we always say, you know, we'll show you the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that was ugly earlier. So anyway, we're going to clean out. I'm hoping that we have enough light, and we'll pan this out, show you what we get. So we'll clean this box out. I'll be darned. Well, guys, that's actually pretty surprising. I didn't expect that, and I think that a lot of this came out of we found a section that Eden and Mike were digging out that it was actually clay, but it still had dirt in it, and it still had gravels in it. And unlike the clay that we were digging right here, it was just clay. There was no sand, there was no gravel, and so we had to slow run that. And actually, you see on the video here, we had a bucket on the runoff at the bottom of our sluice to catch that clay, that some of those that weren't broken up, and then we would rerun that. So we actually had a double catch system, but that's only a dozen buckets. So that's real good. But I can see in here we've got gold from 2 different sources, and I'll show you really a clear example of that is right here. You can see these 2 pieces are really almost different colors, and this piece right here is a lot more silver looking. So there's a couple of drainages that come in here, and I would imagine that these pieces are coming from the different canyons up here. But this one I can tell has got a high silver content, and like Mike was saying here, is it's really kind of about like jewelry gold, is that, you know, a piece of gold like this is going to be 18 karat, 16, 17 karat, and it's got other metals in it, and they do that because gold is really pretty soft. The 22 karat gold that we typically get in this area is really soft, so this one I can tell has got a lot of other minerals, and this particular creek is really well known for having a super high silver content. So, but guys, I got to admit, that's real good. We were going to pull our equipment out here tomorrow and go hard rock mining, but I have a feeling we'll be back here tomorrow. So that's real good. You know, I hope you guys can see that real clear. That's a decent catch of gold for one day. And anyway, we hope that you enjoyed this. Like I mentioned a couple of times, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here, but you know, we'll show you good and bad. And obviously we showed you a bad hole that we dug, and we wasted over half the day, so, and then we finally got back into the good stuff. But anyway, we encourage you guys to check us out on AmericanMiningRights.com. We're out there fighting for you every day, trying to keep these roads open and stuff. We're working on some things right now here in the Stanislaus area that we've actually got Susan Skalski, the supervisor, to admit that we have a right to be out there and access our claims, and so we're getting basically a free pass. Guys, I'll tell you, I'm driving on these closed roads up here and stuff, and these people won't pull me over, they won't stop me, so because they know that they're wrong. It's the public lands, we own it, not them, and we have a right to access it. So check us out on AmericanMiningRights.com. Check us out on Facebook under American Mining Rights, and we'll catch you guys next time. I'm happy today. We'll see you.